Good morning, everybody. Tuesday, July 11th, and we're going to kick back off with our weekly Linchpin member interviews that I've been trying to knock out every Tuesday. So, as we always do here, I'll see if I wait for our guest to join, see him pop up, and oh, here we go. That was fast. All right, Mike, I see. Be quick. Stand by, everybody. Thank you for your patience. All right. All right, I accepted it, Mike. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good morning. Thanks for making this happen, man.
Good morning to me. Good morning to you. 5:45 out there. You're up and at 'em early.
Oh, dude. I tell you what, I'll start with a funny story. So, I usually get up early just to work anyway before the family gets up. It's just amazingly peaceful, productive time, even though I like sleep, but you got to get stuff done. So, my alarm was going to go off at 5 a.m. this morning, get a cup of coffee, prepare and all this stuff. And I try to be aware when it goes off to hit it so my wife doesn't have to unnecessarily get up an hour or so earlier than she needs to. So I thought I heard the alarm go off, so I hit my phone, snuck out of the room, get into the kitchen, turn on the coffee pot. I'm like, man, I'm just dragging this morning. I looked at my phone, it was 3 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. My alarm never even went off. It was like in a dream or something, and then I was up. So I've been up since 3, and I feel good at the moment, but we'll see what happens when the workout hits later on.
It's 8 p.m. is when you at 3. If you had 3
Yes.
a.m. 3 a.m. wake up is I have found lately with the new 10-week-old baby that 3 a.m. wake up equals 8 p.m. crash. I put the older one to bed
Oh,
and I'm toast. Absolutely toast.
man. Well, I had that written down, but let's go ahead and get into that. So I guess for everybody watching, who are you? Where are you from this morning? What's going on?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in New York. I'm in upstate New York, so pretty close to Albany. I have been doing CrossFit since 2018,
Oh,
and I
nice.
joined the Linchpin. I joined the Linchpin December of 2020. I think one of the things that I had emailed you about was that when I first started going to a box, I'm so grateful to those people because they really changed my fitness, totally, and made me want to compete and just be an athlete against myself
Mm,
mostly. But it was the classic heavy heavy lift plus a workout, and I was just walking around totally beat up. And so when I came to Linchpin, I was looking for something that was sustainable with life. And at the time, I had a new baby, and now I again have a new second baby. And man, has the beginning been so different this time because of just the lessons, right? The stuff that we talk about at Linchpin, and just you know the the actual volume that I could handle.
well, walk us through that because it's just I shouldn't say it's funny, but so many stories of people that I interview or send messages or whatnot. There's a very common theme, and I don't want this to sound like I think the affiliate community is doing something wrong. That's 100% not what I'm trying to say because I very much like the fact that it's an affiliate, not a franchise, and you can do whatever you want. And that there is something for everybody, right? Like you can have a gym with a heavy bias, and if that's what you love, you will love that gym. And if there's a gym with a running or whatever bias it happens to be, but man, it seems like so frequently the heavy lift every day, followed by the second workout crammed into a 1 hour class, treats more people poorly than it treats them well. That's just kind of, I'm sure there's some people that just hum and that's their niche. But I don't think it's the niche for most people. So, how long did you do that and what was your experience? Did did that level of lifting every day and volume every day for a while produce some great stuff or right off the bat was it too much? What was that like?
That's a great question. I mean, and I agree with you. I do not at all want it to seem like I don't agree with what the affiliate community is doing. And like I said, the people who were there, the gym owner, the coaches, like they completely revolutionized how I looked at fitness coming from, what you've talked about all the time, right? the 3-day split with,
Oh yeah.
yeah, just the classic bodybuilding split. And so coming into that, so I'm really grateful for that. I would say, what my experience was is that when I was there, I was working a job that I was working 50, 60 hours a week,
Oh
same
wow.
as my wife. And I was getting up at 5 a.m. to get to class by 6. And if I went 3 days a week, I was super beat up. If I went on Saturday for the 4th day, I was like, I could barely do,
Like a
I could
zombie.
not do a chore the rest of the weekend. I was totally toast. And so for me, it was too much volume for me, but it was too much volume for me also for my lifestyle with
Hmm.
the work and what I was doing. And what happened was that when my son was born in April of 2020, so this was heat of COVID, mid like lockdowns, it was a crazy time to have a kid. I was looking at workouts online and I just believed that I couldn't do a workout if it wasn't a heavy lift and then a workout. And I just stopped. I just completely stopped working
Sure.
out. I
Well, I mean, if
love,
that's what you've been indoctrinated into,
yes,
it's really hard to look at something because, if it's less than that, well, what's even the point of doing it?
100%. And I love working out. I love CrossFit, but I totally stopped and I just, mailed it basically for those couple months. I'd maybe, go for a 20-minute run or whatever, but I lost this, this fitness that I had accumulated over several years.
And to
And
be
so
and to be fair to you, you were at a phase in your life or stage in your life where it was very easy to let yourself off the hook because you were so darn busy. So it's easy to be like, you know what? I'm just going to put this on pause right now. I can't do what I think is, what you need, and things are crazy. So, let's just do nothing.
a, 1,000%. I have thought a lot about like now, right, with having a new baby. And I wanted to tell you the story because I knew that you would love it because it's
I
right
can't
up
wait.
your alley. So the day that we had my son, the next day my wife said, I need you to go home, get a couple things from the hospital. So
This
I
is
came
your
home,
second child, the day you had your second
uh,
child? Okay,
second
10 weeks
child.
ago.
So first child was at daycare. And so my wife's like, I need you to go home and get, just a couple things, right, to bring back to the hospital. So I came home and the workout was 159 of, it's a long time ago, but it was dumbbell box step ups and either toes to bar or maybe knees to
I
elbow
think it
was
was
what
knees
you
to
had programmed.
elbows.
Yes, this was back in April. And so I walked home, I came home. First thing I did is I walked right over to the gym and I just grabbed 10-pound dumbbells, no warm up, did the step ups, and I jumped up on the bar. This is very little sleep, just had the baby. And I was like, nope, nothing's happening but hanging knee raises. And I must have done the whole thing in 6.5 minutes. And I walked out of there and I was like, did it, right? I got the workout in. That was my intensity for the day. And my
Dude,
wife does not know that story. And she's eventually gonna see this, and I don't think she knows that. So I'm blowing up my own spot there.
hey, she'll give you 6.5 minutes, right? I mean, that's, you probably after that 6.5 minutes came back a less stressed out human being with a little pressure release, so it was good for the family if you do that. But man, but that's it, 100%, not to get off track too soon, but somebody recently submitted a question to the Very Not Random podcast for Adrian and I, and I don't, we got a list of questions. I don't know if we'll tackle this one, but it's somewhat related to what we're talking about. With this gentleman said, "Look, I've got a couple options. I can either work out 3 days a week for an hour, or I can give you like 30 to 40 minutes 5 days a week, or something like that." And I was like, man, it's so alluring to think that since it's an hour, it's going to give you so much more. But the more, it's been my experience anyway, like the more frequent touches, like if you could touch it 5 times a week for 30 to 40 minutes instead of 3 times for an hour and sustain that, man, it's those little check-ins. I mean, so the fact that you did something that day, it was just 6.5 minutes, right? But you did something, you checked the box. I think that is victory, like 100%. That's what running Linchpin and seeing everyone's posts and following all the data and tracking everything, like there's no question in my mind that's the path right there.
It absolutely is, and I think it's just it. we have programming 5 days a week, and sometimes, we talk about, modulating intensity, right? All this stuff, but I think that there are times where maybe it's just the no equipment workout while my son's watching TV, getting ready, like, okay, I moved, and somehow I also accumulated, who knows, 80 burpees.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did they come from? I don't know, but I'm plus 80 burpees today, and if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have done those slowly throughout, that morning.
Man, I tell you what, you are 10 weeks old, right? Either your son?
He actually, I have to be correct. He's almost 12. I'm
Okay,
close.
gotcha.
I'm close
Okay,
to
close to 12.
3 months.
Man, you're in the trenches at the moment. Yeah, it's bringing me back 100% of when we've got three kids. Our daughter right now, as a matter of fact, she just recently, just under a couple weeks ago, she just turned 2 years old, which is crazy. Like it went both really fast and it took forever, like at the same time, you know? But I remember around that 12-week mark, and for a long time, life was so hectic and disrupted that I think like a pair of dumbbells just lived in my living room, and I would just do whatever in the heck I could. It was chopped up, it was broken. There might be 7 minutes between round one and round two because another human needed something. And it seems like such a just, um, you know, half-hearted effort and all this stuff, but it's crazy how much capacity you can maintain just still doing stuff. I don't think people realize the power of that, and you're in it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's dumbbells, and there's the ab mat are like behind the dining room table, and we recently had some people over, and I went to move the chair, and the dumbbells were blocking the chair. I was like, oh, hang on, let me move my weights that are over here. But you'll appreciate this with the young kid, to bring you all the way back. Last week, I usually do like the middle of the night feed, and last week I woke up and it was like 5:30 and I hadn't woken up. And you I'm sure you can remember the
Mm-hmm.
panic. I went from nothing to a full 100-meter sprint speed around the bed to look at the baby, who was just very peacefully sleeping through
Yep.
the night. But I was flying. I was out of breath in those 30 feet.
So give us there's so many people in the world. I'm sure there's people either exactly in your situation or that situation is looming. Maybe the wife's 6 months pregnant. They're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen in 3 months to my beloved fitness and my hour that I, have to get used to carving out for the last however many years of my life. You said when child number one came around, you just said, we're going to do nothing. Now you said you've got a better mindset and more knowledge, but what does working out look like? What has it looked like for the last 12 weeks? You gave us that 6.5 minute example, but what's the regular routine that you found you can actually sustain and still be a father to your other child and still be a husband to your wife and get a bit of sleep and go to work? Like what is that routine?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, one of the things that I don't like doing this because I love Sunday rest day. Like my whole life, I've loved Sunday rest day, but I've had to move rest day to probably a different day during the week because it's easier to find the 30 minutes if I go Saturday, Sunday. So I've had
Mm-hmm.
flexibility. I'm super rigid normally about like, no way, can't touch a weight on Sunday. Can't, it's relaxing day. But so I've been definitely moving around the rest days. I mean, in terms of what is actually working, I am like you that I try to go early in the morning. There have been, I would say, over the last 12 weeks, there have been usually 1 to 2 days a week where I wake up at that, 3:30, 4 a.m., feed the baby. He pretty much goes right back to sleep. And then I'm like, all right, this is the time. It's now or never. So, it's a little bit of caffeine, and I walk over to the gym and I do, whatever intensity there is, for that day. Usually end it with some, work emails until the older kid gets up. Now that my wife went back to work, we had a lot of communication because she wants to get her workouts in too. So
Mm-hmm.
this week, last week and this week are the adjustment times where we're figuring out who's going to do the early morning what day. And so I might have to sacrifice and do some late nights, which again, I'm super rigid. I want to be like up 5 a.m., do it, that's it. But you know what? If it's between what happened last time, which was not working out at all, or working out at 8:30, which is my least favorite time of the day to work out, I'm still going to choose the 8:30 because I got to get it done.
Well, 12 weeks in now, how, how successful do you think you've been this time around? Are you moving your body 3 times a week, you think? 4, 5? Like what's it actually shaken out to be?
So I'm happy to say that I have not missed 5 days a
Oh,
week
wow.
um,
That's
since
legit.
the baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I have had to yeah, I've had to modify a lot. And I've also, I've had to like sprinkle in some other things. Like it could be, I don't know. I'm just thinking about this week, for example. Like tomorrow we have the 5K run, which love, by the way. Looking forward to it. But if tomorrow I woke up and that wasn't it, it could be
Right.
like, hey, you know what? It's a 20-minute jog. Like
Absolutely.
that might have to be it for that. But trying to stay with the 5 days a week, and so far I've done it. And I told
Wow.
someone that recently, and they're like, "You're gonna miss soon, right?" And I was like, "I don't know." I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself or the family or whatever to make sure I hit the number 5. But so far, I've snuck it in, and it also
So
I
it's
just will say
possible.
too. Oh yeah, it's possible. The other thing I'll say too is a lot of those workouts that you actually suggested in a podcast a while ago, like every minute on the minute +1 dumbbell thruster,
Mm-hmm.
death by dumbbell thrusters, or
Yeah,
death by
yeah.
burpees, or
Get the
death by row calories.
built-in warm
Sometimes,
up.
yes, sometimes those are what's going to move the needle because I'm like, I don't have time to get everything I need done. So here we go. Just one burpee on 1 minute and
Yeah.
let's move forward.
What have your heavy days looked like?
Heavy, that's a great question. So I've tried, that's moved heavy days mostly to try to do them on the weekends. So actually it's
Oh,
funny.
so you're still getting them in, because they obviously take time. It can't be rushed. I found myself just, if I could get it in, it was a blessing. If it wasn't, it was a lot of the limited equipment option because I could move the dumbbell. But you're actually getting some in, huh?
Have been getting some heavy days in. I will say there was one week recently where I think you did 3 heavy days, and in your video you were like, "Oh, 3 heavy days! Everybody must love this," and I was like sweating over here. I was like, "There's
That's
only two
awesome.
weekend days. I can't do 3." But so I've tried to stick to at least one on a weekend day, and then if there's two in there, I will usually have to
Good
modify
for you.
that other one. Yeah.
How has your mindset been, and has it been difficult for you to change that mindset? Because you mentioned when you first went to the gym, went to the affiliate, and I don't know if you did competitions, but I thought you said the word competition, or you got into that mindset, you were competitive by nature or whatnot. And to go from that to now being in this phase where largely you have to be like, look, I'm okay with not PRing for maybe multiple months. And actually, my fitness might even decline a little bit because life's crazy. So I'm in this phase where I'm just trying to survive and cling to as much fitness, like maintain as much capacity as I can till I come out the other side. And then I'm not starting from zero. I'm starting from this really great place that I'll come back more quickly. That all makes wonderful, rational, logical sense as we say it, but that doesn't mean it's easy to accept between the ears if you're used to living a different life. So how did you've made the physical switch, but how did you make the mental switch, or has that been like a miserable change for you?
It hasn't been a miserable change. That's a really good question. CrossFit made me compete with myself, and there was a time in the beginning where I was like thinking about, oh, maybe I could do some local
Gotcha.
competitions.
Okay.
But a lot of the people who were
Oh, I think I lost you there. Oh, you're
I'm
back.
back.
You're back.
I'm back. A lot of people who were going to my affiliate were like they were in really good shape. And so I was like, you know what, I don't think I'm going to compete with these people. But I'm just gonna see. And so one of the things I think that's been super helpful is the community of Linchpin and really seeing what people are doing with real lives who are in my situation, and then also remembering what I'm doing as a dad compared to general population.
Oh yeah.
And so on days when I do a workout, and so like there's times when I do a workout where I'm beyond the whiteboard, there's no, I'll RX the workout, but there's no, like I'm below a certain percentile, so I don't even get a number. On days like that, I will sometimes think, you know what? Of all the dads out there right now, like what percentile am I in of the dads? And usually I end, I'm like, I'm probably in the 90 something in terms of how much work I did for the day. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll boost myself up that way.
Yeah, no, I mean it's again just touching it as regularly as you can. You're just and you're maintaining, at least I found anyway, so much more than I realized. What seemed to be just a series of mailed in mediocre workouts wasn't actually the case. I mean, when time became my friend again, I was like right where I used to be or just off by a hair and got back there just like that. It was pretty crazy, and I just think that is certainly something that more people would benefit from all the time. I actually found it, I don't want to speak for you, but I found it freeing in a way because once you're in it, like you don't have a choice. You're in it. Like life's just hectic and crazy. But I was in this environment of whether I wanted to or not, I didn't have to worry about PRing anymore. Like that was off the table. It was just get something in. And so I was just moving for the sake of moving, for the sake of health, for the sake of fitness, for the sake of stress relief. And I kind of removed to the best of my ability any external um, thoughts of like, well, I did death by thrusters a year ago, like when I was at my peak, and this is what my score was. I'm like, I ain't there right now. I'm just gonna do death by thrusters, and whatever I get, that's cool. And it was a really actually like fun mindset to work out with that. It was liberating in some degree, and I don't know if you've had that in any way, shape, or form.
I 100% agree. I actually, there was a period of time, I think, and I would refer to this maybe as like a transition period, which was probably 2021 was my first full year of Linchpin. And I was thinking about things a lot as pre-baby and post-baby PRs. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was very much like, I would, put, clean and jerk something and I'd be like, oh, that's a post-baby PR. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
I like
that's
that.
great. That's awesome. But I've even moved further away from that mindset. And the I think the reason is because I want to do with this base of fitness, I want to be able to do whatever it is. So we had, and this is like this has been brewing for a couple months, but somebody at work was like, let's do a sprint triathlon. And I was like, great, I'm signing up, first one on my phone while we're having the conversation, because why? I'm generally physically prepared. I know I'm going to be okay. So slowly, the people who were going to do it like dwindled out, and then there were some things that happened in my life, right, where we had to keep moving the date, we had to defer the entry, whatever, and finally it just came down to this past weekend. I just said to the one person who was left, I was like, listen, we're just going to do this in your neighborhood, and we had to use somebody's pool,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
we're going to ride the bike, and we're going to ride the bikes and run, and we did it. And it's like I just wanted to do that to see what it was like and to have fun with somebody. And so I knew that yesterday going into the gym that for the deadlifts that weight was not going to be 50%
Mm-hmm.
or 60% of my one rep max, right, for that workout. I just knew. I looked at it, I was like, there's no way. But I also just did this fun thing over the weekend where I got to use my fitness. I got to go really long. And then I got to eat a lot afterwards, which is obviously the true reward,
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Is to have whatever you want. But I was like, okay, yeah. So I got to do something fun, and now I'm coming into the gym, and I have this workout, and I'm gonna hit this work. I think I only did 4 rounds, and I think my deadlift weight was probably like 45%. But I
Mm-hmm.
did it. I got up, I moved. I also scaled the double unders, right, to less than 50. But hey, I did it.
It's a simple thing to say, but I think I 100% believe that it's true that it's great to push yourself. It's great to, you obviously want to optimize your potential, like for sure, and you should try to do that. But at the end of the day, like if you're a competitor or whatnot and you're paying your mortgage with your fitness, that's one thing. But if you're looking to walk around, be really fit for life, have knees, back, and shoulders that like don't ache because that's not cool or fun at all because you're like lifting too much too frequently, it doesn't matter what you squat and what you deadlift. It just matters that you are squatting and that you are deadlifting. That's it. Like you are in the top 2% of physical fitness in society because most people aren't squatting and deadlifting. So whatever's relative for you, the fact that you're just squatting and deadlifting, huge win, victory. Like you're crushing it. Like it's, game over. So it took me a long time to figure that out. But, so the fact that like, okay, your deadlift was 45%, who cares? You deadlifted. That's a win. Like you won the day without question. So let's think, because of life here, I'm about to actually go get my daughter, who's looking at me through the little monitor here. But
She's up. She's
she's
ready.
up. She's up.
She's ready.
Our other two boys are great sleepers. My wife's a great sleeper. I told you I get up at 3. I'm not a great sleeper, and I just hope I did not curse my daughter with not being a good sleeper. I hope she got the genes from the other side. But she's a bit of an early riser. But that's all right. She's my little morning
Is
buddy.
she gonna climb out of that crib?
Not yet, but she's got some. She's a stick of dynamite. But anyway, probably soon. For people who are, like I said, either approaching the phase that you're in now or currently in it and think it's just, maybe how you felt the first time, like what's the point? What are your lessons learned? What's your advice to other people?
It's a good question. If I could sum that up in like the shortest way possible, I think it would just be to just be easy on yourself because you're still moving and getting the workout done. I think you or maybe it was you and Adrian on VNR. I heard you guys talking about that the only people who care about the amount of time that it takes to do Fran are people who are in CrossFit, right? But like we had that, 21:59, another good workout, pull-ups and burpees.
Oh,
Wow. What,
that was
what a workout.
nasty.
It was. But, when I was done with that, it was like you 45 pull-ups and 45 burpees. You just said it. What percentage of the population can do that work in that amount of time? And I just try to be really easy with myself. Like, hey, I did 45 pull-ups today and 45 burpees this morning. Like I did that, and now I got to go to work and do the thing that I pay my mortgage with.
100%, man.
Being gentle on yourself and just showing up and getting the work in, whatever that looks like for you.
Love it, brother. Well, hey, I appreciate your time, especially with a busy life and a busy family. Congratulations on child number 2.
Thank
That's
you.
really cool. And
Yeah.
congratulations on finding a good rhythm, little balance of work, life, and fitness. So, Michael, I appreciate you being in the community, and yeah, keep doing what you do, brother. You got a good thing going on.
Thank you, and thanks for all you do for this community. It's a great place to be.
My pleasure. Have a good day. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one.